All right, we are right at 5:30 and we tend to get started right on time. We have somebody in the waiting room. Oh, we got him in. Okay. Welcome. This is the Human Rights Commission for the City of Palm Springs, California, regular meeting Monday, April 11th, 2022. We are starting at 5:30. And first item on the agenda is roll call.
Very good. Commissioner Loyola,
Present.
Commissioner Vignolo,
Present.
Commissioner Robles,
Present.
Commissioner Flood,
Present.
Commissioner Ramaran,
Present.
Vice Chair Shepherd, Chair DeHart.
Here.
Jay, this is Donna. It says Dorothy, but I'm here. I'm using a friend's computer.
Very good.
I'll fix it.
Thank you, Donna. Commissioner Cleary. We're not showing as present. And Commissioner Andrade sent her regrets earlier this afternoon. But we do have quorum, Mr. Chair.
And Student Representative Lily Hanner is with us.
And Student Representative Hanner is with us.
And welcome, Dorothy.
It's a long story.
I saw that name on the screen and I said, well, I wonder who Dorothy is.
I am from Kansas.
Okay, I'm having some computer problems. Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, I'm gonna see if I can't shut my camera off. But if you can still hear me, we'll go on to our next item for business, and that's item 5, public comment. I'm not aware that we've got any public comment. Jay, has anybody filed?
We have not received any written or verbal request for public comment.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Having none, we move on to item 6, chair comments. Very brief today. As we were assembling the agenda, there's an item that was we were asked to bring back through Commissioner Ramaran and to have it on the agenda again today. Not really sure why it was coming back, so that's why you don't see it on the agenda. But we, when we get to comments and notes and assembling the agenda for next month, we can talk about that and set a clear expectation as to why it's coming back onto the agenda. And that's the good, better known as the smoking ordinance. That's it for chair comments. Next item is the approval of the minutes for February 14, 2022. Do we have any comments on the minutes?
No comments, Mr. Chair.
I just think Commissioner Cleary, I think his name was misspelled. I don't know if you need to correct it, but
Thank you. We will correct it. Any other comments on the minutes?
I'm also having internet connectivity issues. Maybe it's the wind in Palm Springs today. I didn't hear Commissioner Vignola, your comment.
I just said that in the minutes, let me bring it up. The number 2 roll call, absent Commissioner. It was Commissioner Cleary. His last name was misspelled. It was just a minor correction.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Jay, did you call for the vote already?
I have not.
Okay.
We need
Uh,
a motion and a second still.
Oh, okay. I'll entertain a motion to pass the minutes as presented.
Motion
I
to
see
approve the minutes.
Commissioner Loyola, seconded by
I second.
Commissioner Robles. Thank you. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented? Hands up,
Aye.
or I see everybody's hands up, including mine. Thank you. Next item, we go straight into items for discussion or action. Nothing from, since we have not had any formal meetings that have been public noticed. I'm not aware of any formal reports from standing committees. But we can certainly share any updates in respective areas that we have interest in the community. Nothing on the retreat for me. Same with the Palm Springs Police Department LGBTQ outreach work. Nothing significant there from the human rights standpoint. Commissioner Ramaran, any updates or items you'd like to bring forward on the calendar?
In terms of master calendar items, the one thing that that did jump up in the master calendar for the city is the event that's happening this month at the end of this month, the Preservation Matters Symposium, which is going to be on April 23rd to the 24th. So if folks are very much interested in learning more about preservation and for the city of Palm Springs, it looks like a great weekend of symposium items. For the month of May, I think one of the usual national observances is it's Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in May, as well as Mental Health Awareness Month. So those are the short items that I have for the master calendar right now. Thank you.
Okay. And when it comes to that, the city calendar meeting, that's an excellent item to talk about when you get to, when we get to the end of the meeting under topical newsworthy items. That's the perfect kind of item to share with us and the community as to, what's coming up that you find interesting. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, anything on 1PS? Commissioner Vignola, nothing new? Desert Highway
No,
Gateway,
nothing. They are going back to in-person meetings. I mean, I guess I'll attend tomorrow night in person
oh, good,
at
excellent.
the Mazzell Center. So
Mhm.
This is under Desert Gateway. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring it up or not. You correct me if it's not. I went to the community meeting at the James O. Jesse Center regarding the homeless shelter, the first one, which was the one that was had very unhappy people because they weren't being given an opportunity to let their voices be heard. They were just kind of cornered into listening to speeches from consultants and so forth, and did not go well. And I guess was rescheduled, and I wasn't able to make the second meeting. I'm wondering if the commission has any interest in having a position or a comment or any action on the location of the homeless shelter. I know it's too late. I know the building's been purchased, but it just seems to me like another example of, our challenging areas kind of being shoved up to the north end. And even though we don't have the services we need for the people who live in the north end now. Like I said, I don't know if this is the appropriate time or place, but if so, I welcome any input or any comments on that, because I was really distraught after that meeting. It's bad enough that the decision is made and the thing is going in, but just the community was totally disregarded in the selection of a place. And these are many of the same people that have been impacted by Section 14, and we took such a strong position on the statute and the related issues to Section 14. It just, the whole thing is a real bother to me. And I don't know what to say or where to go with it.
Well, we'll take that as commissioner comments from the vice chair. Since it's not an agendized item, it's not a subject that we can get into, but at the end of the meeting, you can add that or bring it forward as an item that you would like to discuss. And maybe if there's objectives that we would like to achieve out of that discussion, you can share that with us when we build the agenda at the end, okay?
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, since I will probably have to leave this meeting at 6, I do want to mention that the Human Rights Commission has been identified as a group to provide input on the operations of that navigation center. So the group will be contacted for comments, position, concerns, things that Vice Chair Shepherd has raised here, and those can be voiced and incorporated into the future planning for this facility.
Excellent. Is that something where we send comment, or there's going to be a live meeting?
A live meeting in the sense, it may be a virtual meeting. It may be incorporated into our next regular meeting, depending on scheduling that we can get everyone together.
Oh, excellent. That sounds good. Commissioner Ramaran.
In addition to what Jay just mentioned as well, and I thank you, Commissioner Shepherd, for saying that about the Navigation Center. There's also our Equity and Social Justice Committee that that isn't something we may have to consider adding to sort of the liaisoning that we do as commissioners also in our agenda. So that may just be one item to consider for in regards to this topic as well, if that helps us organize.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely something for us to bring back on item 9. Anything else on the Desert Highlands? Commissioner Flood?
I have nothing to report regarding Veterans Affairs. Tomorrow is a meeting at the American Legion Post, Palm Springs Post. I plan to attend that at 5 o'clock and see what the latest local news is going on there.
Okay.
That's all I have.
All right, excellent. Anything else on general updates before we move on to item 8B, potential education program collaboration with Boys and Girls Club? Commissioner Vignolo.
Well, thank you, Chair. And this is just a comment to Jay's comment about if I understood him correctly, at some point the Human Rights Commission will be asked to provide input to the operation of the Navigation Center. Is that correct? So my only comment to the commission and the chair is that could we know well in advance when that will occur so we can prepare to have a robust and vigorous discussion and provide excellent commentary to meet whatever we're being asked to do, preferably more than 24-hour notice, so we can get our thoughts together and do some research, education, and be better prepared to have a good discussion during that live or virtual meeting of the commission. Thank you.
It will be at least 72 hours because that's when the public notice is posted. And maybe I would suggest, or not maybe, I suggest feel free to start gathering thoughts and notes now. There's no reason to wait until next month. Gather write the thoughts that you currently have down, and so they're memorialized and we don't forget current thought on the, since it's more timely right now, the last meeting just happened recently. So
No, I appreciate that, Mr. Chair. I think though I would want to know with a little bit more clarity from Jay what the commission's being charged to do, so we can target
that's a
our
different question.
response. So
That's a different question. So yes, when we get to item 9, let's make that a point to specifically ask what we would like to see, what the expectations are of that meeting. I would certainly want to know that before we go down that path for sure. That's a good point. Okay, item 8B. This was brought on during our meeting last month. Commissioner Robles, I think this was your item.
Yes, this was.
Excellent.
So the Boys and Girls Club has reached out in partnership. They received a grant from Amazon Rise, and they're wanting to do a human rights involvement project for their teens. That's their sixth grade to 12th graders. And they, from my understanding, the teens so far have chosen issues like human rights issues in their community that they're passionate about. And ideally, they are looking at us to kind of bring them in to just sit in on our meetings, or kind of doing a speaker series, a roundtable talk with them, just kind of engagement from the Human Rights Commission. They just kind of want guidance as to how we can work with their teens, and what we could provide, I guess, from a voluntary from that perspective. But they are wanting to work with the community. They kind of want to learn how to bring up issues and, kind of teach them how to get involved in their community and about issues that they care about. So ideally, that's what it is. There's no set pictures that they're looking at. They kind of are just wanting to somehow have us involved in one way or another. Whether that be, one commissioner goes down and does a speaker series, or, we do hosted talks with them. It could really be anything. They're just wanting to, partner with us to work with them.
Excellent. I think that's a great idea. Other thoughts, commissioners?
So Chair, I think it's a wonderful idea, and we should definitely participate in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's great. Thank you for bringing this up, Commissioner
Yeah.
Robles.
Of course.
I hope we'll be able to do something maybe live with them now that we're starting to get COVID behind us, because for young people, I think sitting on one of these meetings might be a little on the tedious side, a little on the tedious side. So if some of us could volunteer to go there for a meeting or a roundtable or a lunch or whatever, I think that would be good, and I would volunteer.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Commissioner Vignola.
I concur with all the previous comments. My only question to Commissioner Robles is there a specific timeline in which this is expected to occur?
So one timeline, timeline was not given to me. They're currently on spring break right now. I feel like Student Commissioner Hannah can confirm that for me, but I think they're on break right now. So it would obviously have to be after the break is over. But they do have summer programming as well. So we can it's just kind of like an ongoing project that I think they want to continue with us. So no set timeline as of right now. It just seems like they just want us to kind of get in there and help them out a little bit.
Is there any other program collaboration with any other entities?
As
you're
of right,
aware of?
no, not that I'm aware of. No, so far the Amazon Rise project that they received the grant for would be in partnership with, they envision a partnership with us.
Student Representative Hanner.
Funny because Commissioner Robles brought up my point that I was going to bring up. Currently, for this week and next week, all students are on spring break, so definitely something that's going to happen after next week. Although definitely something that should be done in person, just because I feel like kids are going to be, since everyone's back in school and especially with the high school, because the Boys and Girls Club, at least in Palm Springs, is like a block away from the high school, and most kids that go after school that at least go to my high school just walk there.
Mhm.
So that's just a few things that I know, is that it's on the other side of the park. It's not even a block away. For middle schoolers, I'm unsure, and since I don't actually go to the Boys and Girls Club myself, I'm unsure of like what it's like inside and how the kids are that go there. But I do have a few friends that go, so I can talk to them about how they feel directly as students that are freshmen and sophomores.
Cool. That's, yeah, important. I think definitely it would have to be in person. So it would be kind of a commitment separately. And I think I'm not sure what the best way to do this. Jay might have input onto this. Whether we email their program director or do we do this through the youth education committee, like subcommittee? I'm not necessarily quite sure the best way to kind of figure out a schedule of commissioners and programming. But I was like, I'll just throw it out there.
Maybe, Jay, can I suggest that we don't form any committees, so we don't have to have publicly posted program, but that the commission gives an endorsement to Commissioner Robles and maybe another commissioner to carry this idea further and go ahead and meet with the Boys and Girls Club and see what may come of it.
I think that works, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So Commissioner Robles, is there anybody else that would like to, David Vignola, or Commissioner Vignola, you have your hand up.
I think that's an excellent idea, Chair. I think if Commissioner Robles would like to work, would like to work with me, I'm happy to partner with her and maybe look at the next step of going back to the Boys and Girls Club and get a better sense of what we can bring to them and what they're looking for to make it a excellent educational program opportunity in person. So happy to do that.
Excellent. And I'll further my comment, and we'll ask consensus from the commission that we ask Commissioner Robles and Vignola to actually, have the leeway to put together something that will meet the request from Boys and Girls Club. Because government doesn't work very fast in many instances, and in our way of needing to agendize everything, I think I would like to charge the two of you with coming back with a fun idea and that you think would be perfect for the commission, and present it to us at the next meeting, and we can move forward from there.
Perfect.
Is there consensus from the commission that we act that way? Yes, Commissioner Ramaran, I see, yep, okay, very good. Okay, there you are charged, your marching orders are in hand. Thank you for bringing that up. I think it's a great idea. There's so many different things that can be done, with the youth. So that's a wonderful idea. Okay, item 8C is the next item up, and it seeking stakeholder feedback. I'm not sure who brought this forward. Anybody want to lay claim to it?
Mr. Chair, we have this in the notes as an item to come back, but looking at the video from the last meeting, it seemed there were a few different conversations going on at the time, and it may have had something to do with mediation and the commission's role with mediation, since it hasn't really been very active with that. I did reach out to the city attorney for input on other cities that may do mediation, that we might be able to model hours after, but I have not heard back from him yet.
Okay. And that doesn't ring any bells for anybody else on what this topic was about?
Oh, sure. Let me, we're gonna send you a link. I'll send
Jay
you-
may have cleared it up for us then. All right, we're moving through this meeting like wildfire. We're on item 8D, Commissioner, Staff, and Student Comments. And why don't we combine that with topical and newsworthy items and just do a round table and see what everybody's got. And Commissioner Amaran, why don't we start with you because you had that that meeting that you were sharing with us earlier, on the city calendar.
Oh, on the city calendar, and again, I think most of us are already on the city calendar. You'll get the updates. But the one item that I mentioned was the Preservation Matters Symposium, which is at the end of towards the end of this month. And in particular, it's a 2-day event. It's on the weekend. And I'm going to be very general right now because I thought I pulled it up, but it's not coming up on my thing right now. But if you go to the city calendar, you'll see it. And in particular, there'll be keynote speakers and in looking at specific neighborhoods around preservation. The idea of architectural diversity comes up. I think that's one of the things I was interested in seeing how, sort of the city is looking at diversity on that level as well in terms of architectural diversity and what does historic preservation mean. I think those are the kind of things have come up in our conversations here on the commission since we did consider, for instance, the removal of the statue from the front of the city hall in particular. So those are the kind of things that that's why I highlighted that one. So if everyone gets a chance, you could reserve a spot to be part of that, to participate in the symposium. The other item that did come up of note in terms of top newsworthy items is that the city council did approve funding for 2 local organizations to develop a universal basic income program for our city's transgender and non-binary residents. So I'm really excited about that. I'm glad to see this kind of project happening. And this is money that's going to be going to Desert AIDS Project Health and Queer Works, and which will be set aside for universal basic income, and as a program through the city, funded by the city as well. So I wanted to just sort of include that in our the top newsworthy items. And the other item that did come up that was going to be part of this discussion today was not going to be part of the agenda, was that the sustainability Commissioner Baker did reach out to me about that the city manager would like to present the smoking ordinance to the city council in May or June. So it was a request from the sustainability to look at the current draft of the ordinance, these smoking ordinance, especially in regards to the American Lung Association. So there were edits that were incorporated that they wanted us to look over. But I think Chair Hart, again, I apologize if I might have overstepped by requesting that in this case, but I just wanted to just give you that update. So it's at this point where it's going to be heading to the city council, and then for I guess a review, and then they just wanted our last. I guess this was our last minute input, but I know that we already did give our input in terms of the last draft. So I hope that clarifies that.
Sure. To take it a step further, the last action that I have when this was in front of us just a meeting or 2 ago is that we were not taking any action. And that's why I was a little surprised when there was a request to get it on the agenda again. And that I was instructed by the commission to send a letter to council letting them know that we're not taking a position on the ordinance at this time. So if the commission is changed their mind and would like to review the document again, then we can bring it back agendize it for our May meeting and bring it back. But I think we really need to get, it becomes difficult reading the entire document, not seeing red line copies on the changes that happened from the last version. But if that's the desire for the commission, I think if we have consensus, we can do what the commission wants to do. So what's the general feeling here? Rescind our position of not taking a position. And if you recall, I recall from the conversation that the primary reason behind that was we didn't feel that the issue of equity and was being addressed properly, and that the most impacted citizens in the community are going to be impacted by the ordinance directly, and that we didn't have we didn't see a solution. We didn't see other work along the making the ordinance a more equitable ordinance. You all might remember other points that were raised, but that's the overall.
I think just to as a response, Chair DeHart, I mean, I think it warrants that, sure enough, we may have been part of the earlier drafts, and like I'm not asking for us to rescind the position right now. So, and in fact, this is probably something we should probably take just offline, since this is a conversation with the other commission.
Well, we can't. We can't talk offline. We have to agendize it. And if the commission wants to bring it back and review it for potential endorsement.
Well, I'm just saying this in response to what you're saying, because you're asking for the rescinding of something too. So I'm very confused about that. This is the kind of direction that I'm hoping for. So if we do that, I'm fine with that. I love being able to support our other commission to get something to this document to the city council so they could get this done, because this has been going on for years.
Mm-hmm. Any other thought from commissioners? How would you like to handle this?
I guess you've recognized. I concur with the chair. I think that this issue has been agendized and discussed, and the decision was made by the commission. I'm not sure we need to go backwards and do anything more on this particular issue, unless it is specifically put on the agenda with a clear whatever you want to have done to it to reopen it. But
Vice Chair.
I agree with Commissioner Vignola. I think we brought it up enough times, had enough discussion about it, and I don't really think it's necessarily the purview of the Human Rights Commission. I think there's another group that's kind of got it, and they should get on with it. It's been lingering for a long time, and I just don't know what else we can add.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments? So is the consensus, well, we'll actually combine 8D, E, and item 9. Is the consensus that we don't agendize this item to bring back for May? I see 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. And we'll let it stand that the merit of the ordinance that comes from the Sustainability Commission should stand on its own. And we don't have a comment on it. Okay, thank you for that, Commissioner Amaran. And one other item, Commissioner Vignola, do I see your hand up again?
yes, well, yes. Thank you, Chair. Where are we still on commissioner staff and
Yeah, we're
student comments?
8D and E.
Perfect. So I just have 2 commissioner comments.
Okay.
One of which I guess may be a request for an agenda item for the next Human Rights Commission meeting. So I'll start with that one. So similar to Commissioner Robles' potential educational program collaboration with Boys and Girls Club, I would like to throw out an idea to the commission that we explore putting or sponsoring a symposium ourselves, perhaps with another partner, during National Bullying Prevention Month, which is in October, and to perhaps look at the issue of bullying and its impact on human rights for a variety of community members. One organization that I spoke to at the, I'm not going to get this right, so I'll ask Commissioner Ramaran to correct me if I'm wrong. It was the first transgender, I'm not sure what it was called again, transgender fair that.
It was the first transgender wellness and pride event that was downtown.
Thank you. Thank you, Student Representative Hanner. So at that event, I did speak to the president and founder of Boo2 Bullying. And we kind of just basically had an informal conversation. I introduced myself. I was surprised there was such an organization here in Palm Springs. And the whole idea about bullying came up. And I remember in my previous life on the East Coast, doing a similar symposium during the October month, where we brought in various groups and we had discussion, we provided resources. It was educational, and I think it could, if we could embark on something similar, it would help us as the Human Rights Commission fulfill some of our goals of developing a community education program, bringing persons and groups together in common support of human rights issues. And so I'm just, again, throwing this out as an idea that I would like to pursue with others if the commission felt it was a worthwhile effort. And I think in order to put something together in October, we really need to start looking at the planning in April, May, and June. So that's number one. And my only other comment in response to Commissioner Ramaran's mention about the recent City Council approval of $200,000 for the Guaranteed Income Pilot Program, just to be clear, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I just within the last hour read the staff report on that issue. The $200,000 approval of City Council funds was strictly to allow DAP Health and QueerWorks to develop an application for the pilot program. Doesn't guarantee that the pilot program will ever come to fruition and that there'll be any program whatsoever in the city of Palm Springs. So it's simply the first step, the first part of the multi-phased approach to trying to get something developed and get additional funding from a state grant that's already been approved. So we'll see what happens with that program if it ever comes to being, but this is a very minor step. So I just want to make that point of clarification. That's all I have.
Student.
So I don't know, Chair, if it needs to be my first thing with the possible symposium. sponsored by the Human Rights Commission, if that's something we would agendize for further discussion at a future meeting, and then go forth and do something like a project proposal that we could bring back to the commission. So I'm happy to look to you all have been with the commission longer than me, so I don't know how to make that happen.
Yeah. Commissioner Hanner, did you have a comment to what Commissioner Vignola was saying?
I was just gonna ask to clarify the what was the word? Now my brain's blanking. The program that you were talking about was the
Guaranteed
grant.
income program. Guaranteed income program.
Right, and that has been if I'm not mistaking this for a different thing, it's just because there's been a lot of kids talking about it at my school, because it's being said that it's specifically for transgendered people and non-binary, which I know that it's definitely supposed to focus on that, which isn't my problem. It's just I find it very amusing, because one person that will post like very clickbaited-esque Instagram or like Facebook posts or Twitter posts on like certain topics like this, they'll post like the bare minimum of what it actually is and then not explain it. And this person posted something that was like Palm Springs gives transgender $900 a month or something like that, and I was like, that doesn't sound right, because that's a lot of money and that's a lot of people. So I Googled it, and it took 2 seconds. It's like, for this, it's specifically for people that are under the poverty line, correct? Like people who are struggling with their income, as well as being in that minority of being transgendered, according to the Desert Sun, which I can't guarantee how well that's supposed to be like correct. It's just seeing how students have responded to that, because I forget that some kids are just not educated, but a lot of people I've heard are very unhappy about it as like students, because they're like, well, why is it just trans people? I'm like, well, it's trans people under the line of poverty. And they're like, but why just trans people? And I was like, because they're a minority. I don't know. I'm not the one who made the program, but a lot of people are getting very like, and by people I mean kids, are being very closed-minded about it, which I just it blows my mind sometimes, because of how large the LGBTQ community is in Palm Springs, and how in a lot of cases homophobic all of the kids are. Blows my mind. Anyways, I've heard a lot about it, and by a lot I mean nothing. And I've heard a lot of criticism on something that I feel can definitely go a long way and can definitely be very helpful for people who obviously feel that they've been born in a body that doesn't suit them. Yeah, anyways, that's just me.
Vice Chair Shepherd.
Thank you for bringing that up. Commissioner Hammer, Student Commissioner Hanner. It's not just students. We're hearing the same kind of reaction from all over the community. I think it's probably one of the most misunderstood ordinances and misunderstood programs that anyone has tried to put together for a long time. I don't know how, but I wish we could get a little clarity out on exactly what the program is about, why it targets the transgender community, and what makes it such a wonderful program to begin with. Because I think she's not alone with the students. It's a lot of people in the community are very confused about the proposal.
Thank you, Commissioner Vignola.
Well, first of all, just to be clear, and I would refer all of the commissioners to the City Council staff report that was prepared on dated March 24th, which was provided to the City Council for their consideration on whether to approve the allocation of $200,000 for the pilot program application and design phase. There is no program. Let's start there. This is to develop the application to seek to come up with the criteria for a program to then get some of the $35 million in funding that the state has provided for guaranteed income pilot programs over the next 5 years. How the funding or how that money would then be provided to recipients if a program was in fact ever to come to fruition has yet to be determined. But these two organizations are looking at a guaranteed income program for transgenders, citizen residents, which is not income based. Doesn't matter what you earn or if you earn anything or not at this point in time, but a lot of those details of the program would be developed and would come out down the road. So again, this is just for them to start an application process,
Yeah.
and to come up with the framework for a program. So
Any
the
other
details of the
comment?
program will come later
Yeah,
if the application even is accepted by the state. So
we're just gathering comments, and it seems like there's enough comment from commissioners to bring this item as an agendized item in the May meeting. So we will add this topic to the agenda and can get into more in-depth conversation there. But it's not an agendized item today, so it's not something we can get into and take action on. But I think from what I'm hearing, there should be clarity in the fact that there is no program, there is no checks being issued, and that the city is just put together, supported two organizations who are putting together the bid or a proposal in response to a state of California program that is going to be distributing $35 million to entities that will manage a guaranteed income program. And these programs have taken place across the country in different cities. I think we've brought clarity to the fact that there is nothing happening in the city of Palm Springs. There's just a project in development. But we can find out, next month, talk about what action we'd like to see, if any, from the commission, okay? Any other
just some
comment?
chair, will you be putting, I'm going back to my other comment on the possible symposium during.
Yeah, you asked for that to be agendized.
Is that what the next step would be?
Yeah, so I've got it written down here. Potential program for bullying, about bullying. So that will be on the next month agenda.
Do I need to prepare anything for that agendized item for next
Sure,
month?
it's your item, so you want to prepare your pitch and your staff report.
Got it.
So prepare your staff report so the rest of the commissioners can see it the way you see it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, excellent.
Mr. Chair, could I have one comment?
Yes.
Is regarding, I guess, just comments, I guess. So the commission involved in the Harvey Milk Diversity Breakfast coming up in May. I remember a few years ago, when I first got on the commission, there was a table at breakfast, and I think you were instrumental in setting that up. So is anything going on? If a commissioner wanted to participate, would he or she have to just go ahead and on their own to do that, to attend the breakfast?
Yes, I can provide some background.
Okay.
The commission over the years has supported the event off and on, and by being a sponsor of the breakfast at the $1,000 level. Sometimes the commission has no interest in it, and other times the commission has interest in it. But it is, I don't ever bring it forward since I'm the founder of that event. And if it's something that the commission wants to move on it's something that needs to be driven by another commissioner.
Thank you. I understand. Thank you.
Okay, anything else under commission staff comments, topical newsworthy items, or even agenda items for our next meeting? So I've got 2 items that are coming out of today's meeting that we want to bring forward, and that's the GIP conversation, the Guaranteed Income Program conversation, and a potential or a discussion about a potential symposium on bullying here in the Valley. Anything else that we want to add, or did I miss anything? I've got to take good notes for Jay, or else he'll be mad at me.
There was one item, actually, Chair DeHart. It was
Yes.
this Equity and Social Justice Committee. If that should be added to one of the reporting agenda items, and I think it's only for a short period of time. If we wanted to put that as, if we have to report back to the commission, since Vice Chair Shepherd and I are serving on that one.
Mhm.
What's the status on the navigation, the Homeless Navigation Center and the Desert Gateway Community?
So Jay had that one listed, saying or thinking that there is going to be a potential meeting with us and other stakeholders from the city to have that discussion and weigh in on the navigation center. We need to get clarity on that, and I will follow up with Jay and get some specifics. What is that meeting that we're being asked to be a part of? What's the purpose of it? What's the goal? So then we know what again, we can be prepared, like Commissioner Vignola is going to get prepared for the bullying presentation, and just know what we're being asked to do. So that's definitely an item. I think Commissioner Amaran, I don't see any reason why we couldn't add the social justice committee, just a social justice committee update, to the agenda, just so it formally is there and it's written down. So that's a good idea. We'll do that. Okay, did I miss anything else? We're good. And should we carry forward the Boys and Girls Club as an agendized item? Do you think you'll have time to come back to the commission in May with a program or suggestions, or do you want to carry that to June?
I think we should have enough time. I think once we come back from break, I think they should be ready to go.
Okay, well, we've got a robust agenda built for next month, so thank you all for that. And let me just make sure. No further announcements from my side, and any other announcements from the commission? No, we're good. All right, we will adjourn the meeting at 6:24 or the commission will adjourn to an adjourned regular meeting Monday, May 9th, 2022 at 5:30 via Zoom. Thank you all, appreciate it. Appreciate the conversation today.